You're listening to the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show with your host, Coach Tim Campsall, where we talk with successful business owners to hear the stories of their journeys in building their successful businesses. And more importantly, we recognize the folks who help them excel because we know that achieving business success is not something we can do on our own.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is that she lives full-time in her RV and runs her business from there. In her downtime, she likes to hike. We'll ask her to tell us about some of those adventures here in a minute. And she is most proud of her team and how much they care about what they do. It's my pleasure to welcome Theresa to the show today. Hi, Theresa.
Hi, Coach Tim.
All right. Well, hey, let's start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us your name and a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live, and about your family and hobbies.
Sure. So I'm Theresa Kolbus. I'm the owner of the Dust Devils. We are a residential cleaning service in Indy. I was born and raised in Indy. I grew up in Indy and Greenwood. I graduated from Center Grove High School. As far as hobbies, I played roller derby for about 10 years, and then I skated at skate parks for 6 to 7 years. Now I do a lot of hiking, and I just hiked my first 14er.
Yes. And so for folks like me who don't know what that means, can you tell everyone what a 14er is?
Yeah, it's a 14,000-foot mountain.
Wonderful. And when you say hike it, what does that mean? Do you go all the way to the top?
Yeah, so you don't always, you don't start at sea level,
Yeah.
especially, if you're in Colorado, but yeah, you hike all the way to the top. The one that I did was only about, I think, 6 miles. It wasn't too bad. But it was steep.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. Theresa,
Yeah.
Is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share today?
Yeah, sure. So when I was a little girl, about 4 or 5 years old, my dad took my brother and I fishing, which was common. We went fishing quite a bit. I didn't have the attention span for fishing, so I would catch toads and play with them. um, well, one time I found one that I didn't want to let go of, and I put it in my pocket and forgot about it.
Oh, no.
And my poor mom found him when she did my laundry. Yeah.
Awesome. Oops.
Yeah.
Theresa, tell us about how the business came about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Yeah. So my best friend and I started our cleaning business by we were just cleaning a house for a friend of ours who needed a house cleaned. And we had such a great time doing it that we decided to just do it, to do that for a living. We'd been a little frustrated with our current jobs at the time and changes that we were kind of going through. And we wanted to do something a little more active.
Hmm.
And she never wanted employees. She didn't actually want to grow a business. She just enjoyed the cleaning. So when she moved away, she ended up moving away about a year later. So when she moved away, I decided to hire employees. And at that time, I actually had no confidence. It took me about 4 months after posting the job to actually hire our first employee. It was definitely kind of scary because I wasn't sure what I was doing. I mean, I trusted myself, but it's always scary, when you bring somebody else in who's looking up to you. So after having a staff of about 4 technicians, I decided to invest in myself and the business, and I joined a coaching program specifically for the residential cleaning industry. And that's when I really started to gain confidence around that time because, it allowed me to learn more about my industry, stabilize my business, and create a really great working environment for my staff.
That's awesome. So tell us more about the company. What's the name? What do you guys do? How do you help people?
Yeah, so we are called the Dust Devils. We are a residential cleaning service. We've got a handful of offices, but we specialize in residential. Um, and I should probably explain what we do and why we are here. So we do exist to make life better. When I started cleaning houses, I thought only rich people had their homes cleaned. I couldn't relate. I just knew that, initially I had fun with my best friend cleaning a house. Um, Growing up, we certainly never had a house cleaner. And, but cleaning, I think for everybody is a source of pain,
Mm.
especially when you have kids and you kind of involve the kids in cleaning. Um, there was a lot of unnecessary arguments around cleaning. So when I started the business, I hadn't really thought of that. I I just thought of the task that it was, but I hadn't really thought about how it was helping families until I really started hearing from the people that I was cleaning for.
Mm.
Um, and then I immediately found out that I was making life better for the people that I was helping. So that's what we are here for. We are here to make life better for our customers.
That's awesome. I love that you have evolved to that understanding of what's the emotional benefit and why do people want to have you do it instead of themselves, because you're right, it's not fun, it's just a distraction, or it gets in the way of enjoying life. So having somebody else to be able to do it is such a blessing. That's awesome. Hey, Teresa,
It is.
share a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, even though maybe you didn't know that you could, and the impact that that person had on you.
Sure. Honestly, I have to say that the people who have always pushed me the most and inspired me the most are my employees.
Mm.
They inspire me to be a better leader every single day. Being a better leader requires stepping into hard times. So, it definitely feels like, a push. Um, but I will always step into those hard times and do the right thing for my staff to make life, to make their lives better, because they make life better for others.
Mm.
um and just a few examples, like there are times where we might have to increase our rates. That's never comfortable really for anybody, but it's necessary so that I can give my staff raises, which is very much well deserved. um, and difficult conversations, obviously we have to have hard conversations all the time. um, if you don't have the right person in your organization, everybody will hold you accountable to that, to take care of it.
Yes.
Um, so and that's really important. So there are definitely times where they hold me accountable just as much as I hold them accountable. They inspire me, to make life better for them,
Yeah.
just like I said, as much as they make life better for everybody else.
That's awesome. I love it. What a great philosophy in terms of a
Thanks.
true partnership with your team. So I'm sure you've been through a lot of different learnings, but what would be the biggest learning that you've had as a business owner?
Um, I would say probably that very little is permanent. In many ways, I mean, achievement of your goals isn't permanent. Even when you hit your goals, it doesn't mean that you always own them. So you can't be complacent. Your culture isn't permanent. It takes constant effort and attention. You definitely have to be consistent with it. And then also that people are not permanent. So both in how you view their role within your company and also their wants and needs. So you definitely need to be prepared and flexible and understanding, and just keep in mind that what you think you know can change, and probably will.
It absolutely will. The only constant is change, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
In a similar vein, we know that business success doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us about one of the biggest challenges that you faced in the business, and somebody who came alongside of you and helped you through it.
Sure. Our biggest challenge was during the pandemic. I'm sure that was probably the case for a lot of people. Um, and I'm going to have to refer to my business coach and her program and in its community. She owns her own cleaning business, so she started just like I did out of the trunk of her car, um, and she has grown, a very successful coaching program. We had to shut down for a couple months, like I mentioned. Um, and I was concerned about keeping my staff and not knowing what my obligations were to them. I wanted to make sure that they were okay. I was concerned about keeping our customers and providing the best service to them, especially at a time where we just didn't know what our industry would look like, and everything associated with it. And my mentor and coach immediately pulled us all together into specialized virtual training summits. She helped us navigate the resources that were available to us, but also gave us all confidence and specialized training with proper implementation. We didn't have to be afraid. So, I think everybody was kind of scared at that time.
Yes.
And definitely having somebody to kind of guide you um, or guide me helped a lot. So, I felt like at that time, like because of that training, we could be local experts, especially at such a volatile time where maybe nobody felt like they knew anything.
Right.
Um, and then, we were able to kind of shift our services to not just being services that a lot of people viewed as a luxury, but more so a necessity, especially, in a post-pandemic world where keeping homes healthy was imperative.
Yeah, that's awesome. It certainly was a little bit of a crazy time, wasn't it? I'm so glad
Mhm.
that you made it through and came out
Thanks.
stronger on the other side.
Thanks. We only lost one employee, so
Oh, that's
and she
fantastic.
had a couple jobs, so it worked out really well.
Teresa, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit and ask you to pick 3 people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there to help with your business's growth. So who are those 3 people and how'd they help you?
Okay, so the first that I'll mention was my business coach I was talking about. Her name's Debbie Sardone. She's the founder of the coaching program. She has created this program that basically provided all of our systems. I mean, obviously we have to implement them, but um, and she created a community. I mean, with community, it's hard to do things, as we know, very hard to do things by yourself, and to have someone actually create a community that you can be a part of was huge for me. The second person would be my office manager, Melissa Myers. She cares about the Dust Devils almost as much as I do. While we call it my baby, it's her bonus baby. And she treats our staff and our customers with care, respect, and empathy. She's probably the most trustworthy person I've ever known. And she seems to genuinely care about everything that she does. So she would be the second. And then the third, I would kind of have to say my colleagues as like just as a whole that, I have within that coaching group, which there are hundreds of members. But I've met so many like-minded business owners. I've learned so much from that community. I've grown really close to these people. They've become my friends. They're so giving of their time and their ideas and general collaboration. And I'm in a really great cohort with really wonderful people. And we challenge each other. We meet a few times a month, and everybody's just extremely respecting and uplifting.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it can be lonely at the top and right and drinking
Yeah.
from the can feel like we're drinking from the fire hose trying to figure it out. So having
Hmm.
that network to be able to rely on is a big deal. There's
Yeah, for sure.
there's too many business owners who are trying to figure it out on their own. So I'm glad to hear that you're connected, even with the fact that you're mobile and living out of your
Mhm.
your RV. So that's awesome.
I mean, when I was in Indy more often, I was probably less connected at
Mm,
that time. I mean, there are definitely ways to be connected. I think that, that the pandemic kind of showed us that. But, Zoom existed before that. Google Meet existed before that.
yeah.
Um, and you can be together in person too, but you still have to connect.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, you're right. Those tools existed, but a lot of people weren't open to using them. And then overnight, all of a sudden, all of these awesome tools were embraced, and now we can continue
Hmm.
to use them.
Yeah.
Teresa, as you think about the next 1 to 3 years, what's your number one priority or challenge that you see in achieving your goals?
Yeah, so I would say my biggest challenge, or at least my biggest area of development that I'm going to be working on in the next 3 years would be further developing and communicating our vision. which, as you've heard me mention a couple times, is making life better. So my goal in the next 3 years is to better communicate that vision. I do believe that having a clear vision and why gives us a clear path and purpose. And that can be, it can be hard for some people to know, where you're heading if you don't have a vision. But creating clarity and consistency, within that vision, both when it comes to your staff and the public, and just reminding yourself of it and staying constantly connected to that vision, is a separate challenge. So that's what I plan on focusing on in the next 3 years.
It's awesome. I love it, because if if we don't have that clarity and share it with our team, then they just sort of meander around, because we all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves, right? We all want to feel like we're making a difference in the world. And so by having that clarity of your company vision, it allows the team to rally around it, right? And then there's a ripple effect out into the community. So,
Definitely.
awesome. Last question here, Theresa. Jim Rohn says that we become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So as you think about that quote, what advice would you have for business owners who are trying to do it on their own?
Well, you can do it on your own. I mean, we can all do it on our own. But I wouldn't go it alone. Not only are you so limiting to yourself, it's also so easy to get in your own way when you don't have those people around you that you need that can help lift you up. When you find the right coach, you are making an investment in your business and yourself. But then when you find the right community, there really is no limit. There's no lid, and you really aren't alone. Like we said, it feels a little lonely sometimes when you are the leader. But when you have other people who have a leader mindset around you, it doesn't feel so lonely.
It's so true. When we come across a challenge or a hurdle or a bump in our business, and and we're the owner and we don't have that community, it's like, well, who am I going to talk to about it, right? I can't really go to my team and share with them that I'm struggling with paying payroll this month, right? Or I don't
Right.
want to take it home to my family and share that maybe, right, the business is struggling right now. And so yeah, a lot of
Mhm.
owners will just bottle that up and try to sort through it on their own. And community makes a huge difference to be able to have folks who are going through the same things and get it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not only just for, collaborating and, share, it's important to share what you're going through. Like you said, you can't really go to the people that you talk to every day, that you're dealing with every single day on some of these issues. So not only does it feel good to have people to just vent to and to talk to about it, but they've probably been through it before and can help you get through it successfully.
There's a big difference talking to a fellow business owner who gets it versus a friend who doesn't, right? It's
Hmm.
just too hard to for them to come alongside of us, because they just don't understand.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
What's one thing that that comes to mind in terms of the thing, something, a topic that came up that you had the privilege of being able to get that support and feedback from your community? I'm kind of putting you on the spot because this wasn't one of the questions I
Oh,
should,
yeah. Yeah.
but is there something that comes to mind?
Well, I can think of, so in this cohort that I'm in, we do like a hot seat twice a month. So we all take a turn doing a hot seat, and we've got a structured process for it. And I was the first person in our hot seat, and it was just around marketing. But we all of us business owners that are trying to grow have some kind of issue with marketing, because it's constantly changing. Um, it's been a while since I had my hot seat now, but yeah, like just being able to share. I mean, I shared a lot of numbers. I mean, I shared, um, and actually, I don't think I necessarily approached them with like marketing is my issue. I shared my numbers, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
we are not growing. I think it's marketing, but can you please take a look at my numbers? Do you see something that I'm not seeing?
Mhm.
If it is marketing, like, let's talk about it. What am I not doing right? So it was an interesting experience, but we all, like I said, we all share the hot seat, and it's interesting to hear kind of what other people are dealing with too, because you can always relate.
That's the thing I have the opportunity to once a quarter to be involved in a board meeting, and same idea where the other participants act as our board of directors, and we do the hot seat idea as well. And
Mhm.
it can feel like you're getting beat up until you realize that you're actually wanting and needing the questions and the feedback, right? And then you embrace it and go, wow, these people are all being significantly beneficial to my business because they're gifting me their thoughts and their questions and their perspectives.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it doesn't feel good to hear, like, what you're not doing right.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're having an issue, if you're struggling with anything, there's obviously something you need to work on. And you need to hear it, you
Yes,
know.
for sure. Hey, Theresa, it sounds like you've been blessed with some pretty incredible people in your business owner journey. If they were all here on the show today, what would you want to say to them?
I guess I would probably just tell them how grateful I am for each of them and what a major, contribution they have, not only, in our customers' lives, but in my life. And that I hope that, I can make their life better, actually. So, I hope that's what we are doing for each other.
So
Yeah.
I love it. Theresa, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach Tim.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.